Hello and welcome back, listeners. This is the orientation video for Long Walk Talks Lost. I'm David Hensley, Chief Engineer, and tonight I'm joined by my head researcher,
Cara Hayes,
and our staff quantum physicist,
Robert Bradford.
How cool would it actually be to have one of those? All right, we are going to be continuing our Lost 20-year retrospective with episodes 510 and 511 of Lost. But first, we had a themed cocktail. Tell us all about it, Robert.
So this one was the Truth Serum, just reflecting how in the first of our episodes this week, Saeed is in fact injected with a drug cocktail that will make him unable not to share all of his secrets. The Truth Serum is actually the name of a number of different cocktail recipes. I went with one of the more basic ones, which is a mixture of gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. And, well, this one I would say is probably the first that I think was generally agreed to be not a winner.
I felt so bad because
Yeah.
it took a while clearly to mix these and shake them up and everything, but we all took a big gulp and we're like,
cough medicine.
yeah.
Campari it's the Kate of liqueurs. Clearly some people out there really dig it, but nobody on this podcast.
Nope.
Yeah, sorry.
Sign
It's
that off the list.
A very, very rare miss, though.
Very.
Don't let that discourage you. It's important to try new things. Anyway.
Kara, I think we've punch carded enough non-whiskey cocktails, so I do have a Manhattan in the future for our season finale.
Okay.
We're going to make you like brown liquor.
Bring it on if you can make it happen.
We're gonna. Just you watch.
Okay.
All right. We are going to start tonight. We only did 2 episodes this week. One, because we were all kind of in a time crunch, and 2, because it was going to have to happen anyway, because this season has a odd number of episodes, only 17. So starting with episode 510, He's Our You. We get a opening flashback to Saeed's childhood, which echoes Mr. Echoes pretty heavily. I should have really thought that sentence out ahead of time, because they both had to kill something, a living thing, in their brother's place, and it's fucked up.
I mean,
I don't think we'd had it established yet, but Saeed does join the crowded hall of lost actors or lost characters who had a truly crappy father.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wow, we're finding that out late. Usually we found out about everyone else's shitty fathers very earlier.
This is it's the only episode this season that's had flashbacks to events before the island. Might be the only one we have. I'm trying to remember if any of the upcoming episodes get into that. So yeah, we'd had a lot of the characters actually jumping around in time within the narrative, but I think this is just the first time we've seen a character remember something that happened, 30 years before.
So do we know which one of the writers had daddy issues?
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess all of them.
Okay. Yeah. Probably.
Literally every single one.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
We do, so back in the 1977 time frame, Saeed is now being visited by young Ben. And I remember that actor doing, a fine job when we last saw him in Ben's flashback episode in season 3. But, he's a little bit older now, and it seems like he's definitely making a decision to kind of channel Michael Emerson a little bit more, like with his kind of, like the words he drags out and the way he gets a little bit monotone in the middle of his sentences. It's a fun little touch.
Yeah, and it's been a running thing the last couple of weeks, but I love how at least once an episode somebody here is dropping a great quote. And this time it was Robert, because we see once again Saeed chasing down and killing somebody in flashback, but like circa 2007, and Robert said, "Oh no, Saeed's got his murder hair."
Because it was back in that, not curly, but wavy and, voluminous look that we saw in his season 4 flashback.
Yes.
And, yeah, that Russian oligarch guy or whoever that Saeed chases down and kills, he must have, he saw that head of hair coming towards him, and he just had to know it was over. We do get the revelation that after Saeed kills this guy and goes to Ben to find out who his next target is, Ben just basically tells him, yeah, that's it. You got through my whole murder list, so deuces.
Well, it's important to have a solid end to your murder list, and don't just keep adding on to it ad nauseum.
Oh.
Otherwise, you're just never fully satisfied.
Shit, I'm doing it wrong.
I kind of imagine that Saeed actually had killed all of his intended targets 6 months earlier, and Ben was just like, that guy, go kill that guy. while he tried to find more actual targets, but like his stalling eventually ran out.
This guy cut me off in traffic last week.
Yeah, because I couldn't remember this part when I was thinking about it earlier, but I couldn't remember if when we found out about the circumstances of how Saeed left Ben's employ. But it is interesting in view of this whole episode, which is wrestling with the question of, we know that Saeed is a killer. Like, that's his skill set. He's a killer. He's an interrogator. He knows how to do these things. But is that who he is, or is that just an identity that's been forced on him? And the fact that he didn't stop doing this for Ben because he got tired of it and left. He stopped because Ben just had no more use for him. And so when he tries to insist to Ben later that, this isn't really who he is, Ben doesn't outright say this back to him, but you can kind of tell that he's like in Ben's little smirk that's what he's thinking.
And back in 1977, Saeed is still locked up in Otherton, New Otherton, Old Otherton actually, and Horace Goodspeed, who we all on this podcast love and adore, goes into his cell to try to intimidate him. And this is one of my favorite things about this show. So like deep into the characterization as we are 5 seasons in, it is always hilarious to watch anyone try to intimidate Saeed.
It's funny that Radzinski is the bad cop too, that Horace is trying to be kind of like, I'm tough, but if you talk to me, we can work this out. And then Radzinski's just like, make him tell you about the swan in the background. And just two of the least physically threatening actors that we've seen on the show so far, just trying to tag team Saeed with this routine.
I mean, truthfully, I totally understand why they locked up Radzinski. Because, Jesus Christ, he's fucking annoying.
He's probably the reason they instituted that, we have to drug everybody on the submarine. Because, the people who shared a sub ride with Radzinski probably tried to open the door and jump out midway through.
Or shove him out. That's what I would do.
You know what? I was like, I don't even want to get close enough to do that. Just get me out of here. Yeah, another great line within the show we get is Sawyer LaFleur comes to visit Saeed and asks how he's doing. And Saeed's deadpan, a 12-year-old Ben Linus brought me a chicken salad sandwich. How do you think I'm doing?
It's not often that Saeed gets to break out the sarcasm. He's usually one of the more sincere characters, so I love that line.
It's actually a little like... It foreshadows the end of the episode nicely, just his kind of very subdued tone. Like, obviously, he's maintaining kind of a poker face when he's being interrogated, but even when talking to, Saeed or other characters that he doesn't have to hide in front of, he just has this very, dialed back way about him that is a little unfamiliar compared to how we'd seen him in previous seasons. Speaking of previous seasons, Hurley has returned to his roots in food service as... Unlike Jack, who got stuck as a janitor, Hurley actually gets a pretty decent aptitude, which, with his fast food experience, he's now working in the Dharma cafeteria, making, waffles with... he mentions, that ham is involved somehow. That's, good waffles. I wanted to try one.
Yes, I love waffles. We could have had waffles.
Are you stoned right now?
No. Are you?
No.
All right, then.
That's how we could do an episode or a tribute to the Dharma Initiative.
Hey, there we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love how enthusiastic Hurley is about relatively low stakes environments. He was at his happiest when he was locked up in an asylum, and then again we see he was happy to go to prison because it meant being out of all of these shenanigans, and now he's just happy working as a line cook for the Dharma Initiative in the 70s.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst way to live the rest of your life in the past.
The only asterisk being, all these people are going to die in a WMD attack a little ways down the road.
I mean, there is that. But I guess aside from that.
The funny thing is, I don't think anyone ever told the main cast what day or even what year this happened. So as far as Sawyer and Juliet, no. Well, Juliet would probably know.
Juliet is the only one who might have an idea, because all everybody else knows is there's a giant pit of corpses that used to be the Dharma Initiative.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, Juliet would probably be the one, had all this not happened to them, to be like, hey, we shouldn't go to school on this day.
Well, but I mean, they have to imagine, it's not going to be now, because Ben's 12. I mean, he's diabolical, but I don't think he's that diabolical yet.
Though he'll be a lot further down that road by the end of this set of episodes.
Yeah.
Well.
Another mark of just character progression is Sawyer spends most of this episode trying to keep Saeed from getting tortured and then trying to keep him from getting executed. And like you think of like the Sawyer who was like tied to a tree getting, bamboo shoots shoved into his fingers. Like imagine telling that guy you are going to be working your ass off keeping Saeed from going through all this. Man, what a journey he's been on. He does eventually Saeed does get turned over to Oldham, who I'd forgotten who played this guy, but was delighted to see it's William Sanderson, who's a perpetually sweaty character actor. Like every role he plays is a guy who just looks like really fidgety and nervous. And we meet him in the Dharma scene. He's coming out of like a teepee or a sweat lodge or something. I actually do like that their interrogator is not somebody who does physical torture. He's just got like that. He's got that section of drugs for them. And like these are all 70s hippies. You know that they've got like color coded like cases of every kind of drug everywhere.
So, fun fact that I meant to share with you guys when we were watching on Sunday. I have 2 degrees of separation. You know the whole like 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon thing? I have 2 degrees of separation from William Sanderson because he was Larry on Newhart, along with his brother Daryl and his other brother Daryl. I have directed one of the brothers Daryl, John Voldstad, in a film before.
Oh, dang.
So there was at one point, it's long gone now because I checked my phone to see if I had saved it. But John had sent me William Sanderson's cell phone number at one point if I wanted to like try to reach out to him about something. And I was like, I can't fucking afford that at the time. But yeah, so I no longer have it. But yeah, there's my 2 degrees of separation.
Wow.
Which means I have 3. That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. You both do.
Yay.
Worming my way closer to that Deadwood reunion with every year.
Yeah, you put in the notes that they would have a bunch of tortured drugs on hand, and my question was, are they specifically torture drugs, or is it just a really strong dose of LSD?
Well, I mean, me personally, I don't think it was necessarily LSD because I think he would have been a little different. I mean, he was just happy and talkative, but not like the wallpaper is talking to me or, stuff like that.
The trees could have. We don't know. He was outdoors.
It's a fun sequence of, because of course, as soon as he starts telling them the truth of how he came to the island, he was on the second plane that crashed, not the first plane he was on that crashed, and he's from the future. Like they immediately all start going into the, okay, well, whatever you gave him was too much. There's there's a little note of suspense when he says, you can ask Sawyer, and looks at the guy they all think is LaFleur, but nobody picks up on it, and they just move on quickly because I think that's when Radzinski starts to break in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, over the course of the episode, it becomes very clear why Radzinski will eventually be banished to the Hatch, a.k.a. the Swan Station. My God, what an annoying character. We've been missing jokes about a second plane has hit the island.
Oh, no.
I just realized that we had comedy gold on our hands all along.
Oh. That plane didn't hit nothing. Frank Lapidus landed it.
There we go. And jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. Anyway,
we do. I don't even know what to call it when Saeed in 1977 is flashing to memories that occurred previously for him, but on the calendar take place 30 years in the future. Is it a flashback, flash forward, flash loop-de-loop? Like,
we're just going to call it a flash.
There we go.
Because we see Saeed arriving at the airport with Alana, and after everyone else's episodes are like gradually coming to terms or even like being on board with going back to the island, Saeed's the only one who shows up to the airport absolutely terrified when he starts seeing everyone else and asks Alana if they can get another flight. And of course, Destiny says they can't. But yeah, I love his slow realization of, oh, fuck.
Yeah. We do find he meets Alana, by the way, getting hammered on the kind of the preferred famous scotch of Lost, which is the McCutcheon. Yeah, the whiskey that I think we first saw Charles Widmore drinking and sort of, mocking Desmond for being too poor to even be worth drinking. But yeah, it's nice to have that sort of circle around. And I don't know if it's ever been established whether Saeed drinks or not, because I know in Islam, alcohol is taboo. So we've seen him pray. I don't know if he observes that. I'm trying to remember if we saw him drinking when he was romancing the lady back in his season 4 Flash episode. I mean,
Ooh, I don't remember. All I took away from that was Alana mentions that the a single glass of McCutcheon is $120, and he's on his second, and then presumably buys one for her. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you're spending $360, and that's not even like the end of the night. We see them both presumably hammered in one of their hotel rooms. So he spent at least $360 on alcohol that night.
plane crash settlements. It's good
Oh
money.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I think, trying to get the order of the flashes, because we see them in the hotel room, and that's when she pulls the gun, and she claims she is there representing the family of the guy he murdered on the golf course way back when, and that seems plausible enough, except I don't know, her attitude when Saeed asks, like, on the plane, like you said, he's seeing everybody else, he starts to get suspicious, he asks if they're really going to Guam, and I think her response is, where else would we be going?
Doesn't she also flash a badge?
She does. Like, that's how she gets him on the plane in handcuffs, which is also, I don't think you get to do that if you're just a private bounty hunter.
All right. Well, we had all assumed that she would be fulfilling Mars's role as the U.S. Marshal that arrested Kate. But so we assumed that she would also be a marshal, but no, just a bounty hunter with a badge, strangely.
So somebody with a false identity, question mark? Let's see what else there is to find out about Alana. We've kind of jumped through this episode quickly because there's a whole roundabout about whether or not the Dharma Initiative's just going to execute Saeed at this point. And they do, after a passionate speech from the new mother. Is she holding her baby while she's talking about how they absolutely need to just take this guy out and shoot him?
Yeah. It's fun to see Sawyer being the most morally upstanding person in that room and trying to advocate for Saeed not just to be shot in the head.
But eventually they're planning to do that, and he gets out of it because Ben, showing a little bit of that future, schemer and manipulator, sends a flaming van flying through the Dharmaville, creating enough of a distraction for him to slip out. He's even got his Hoodie O Darkness up, which I don't think we've really seen one of those since Charlie left the show. He and Saeed go out into the jungle. They cross paths with Jen, who's coming to handle the security situation. And in one thing that bugged me then, still bugs me a little bit now, Saeed pretty much immediately flips Jen over and knocks him out with one punch, which I get that he had the element of surprise on his side, and I also get that given the tone they're building to what's about to happen, like a big throwdown fist fight would probably have kind of wrecked the momentum, but yeah, I always wish Jen had put up a little more of a fight there.
Yeah, especially because after being taken down, Saeed takes his gun. Little 12-year-old Ben starts walking off into the distance. He turns around to see Saeed pointing said gun at him, and Saeed nonchalantly shoots him in the chest. And all the jaws in the room, except for me and Robert, who knew it was coming, dropped. Because the show, that might be the single darkest thing to have happened thus far.
We've buried people alive.
Yes, we have buried people alive.
That's still has to be the darkest thing, right?
I don't know.
It was Nikki and Paolo, though, so...
Shooting a child.
And I think it's, like, with Nikki and Paolo, there's at least kind of the element of, like, oh, this is their twisted web of deceit has led them there. Like, and it's kind of karmic for everything we find out that they've done to other people and to each other.
I mean, I guess it's also karmic that it happens to Ben.
I know we're in time travel. I don't know how karma works for stuff you haven't done yet.
Exactly, yeah.
But he has done it, just later.
Again, now you're starting to think like a time traveler.
It still breaks my brain.
But it was funny because you can, from the stinger in the last episode where Saeed introduces himself to Ben, it's clear what he's thinking about. And I think everybody was joking, like, oh, he's going to kill that kid. And yet everybody in the room was really surprised when he actually just, the first chance he gets his hands on a weapon, just puts a bullet in the kid's chest.
Well, because this is still network television in 2009 and not on something like HBO. So I think the general expectation of everyone watching would be, oh, he's not going to do it. Ben's going to be like, Saeed, what are you doing? And Saeed's going to be like, I have to. You're going to grow up and blah, blah, blah. And he's going to like finger on the trigger and, he can't do it. He's having a crisis of conscience. No, he fucking shoots a 12-year-old.
But I also kind of feel like knowing who Saeed is, whether he wants to admit it or not, if he wanted to kill Ben, he would have. I feel like he was able to shoot him, but not kill him. Because, he would, be able to take the right aim and know where.
I think his definite intent was to kill him, but I think the way he plays it, it does seem like he's much more like psychologically shaken by what he's doing than he lets on. So I don't think it was meant to be a non-lethal shot, but I can believe that he was so that like normally like professional soldier Saeed would be much more dispassionate about making sure someone was dead. I think here I can believe he takes one shot, the kid goes down, and he just walks off into the jungle.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier today, because this is how my brain works, unfortunately. We spent a lot of time last season talking about the weird timeline for Michael and how he was off island for like 2 weeks before coming right back around. You have to think about Saeed's very long, very bad, no good week here. Because we see in this episode, not a whole lot of time has passed since like he killed that last guy, he got cut loose, he went to Guatemala? Where was he building?
Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico,
yeah.
He was like doing a Habitat for Humanity thing there, building houses. Ben shows up and tells him Locke's dead. Somebody's like staking out Hurley. Presumably, like after he leaves, Saeed jumps on a plane to go to Los Angeles, kill that guy watching Hurley, help Hurley escape. They go back to a safe house. They get attacked by an assassin. He gets knocked out.
Dishwasher kill.
He gets knocked out. Unconscious, spends the most of the next day with Hurley's family, goes to the hospital, sees Jack. That same night,
another guy tries to kill him.
That same night, another guy tries to kill him. He swears off going back to the island. His job here is done. He goes, he thinks he's going to get laid. Instead, he gets, for all intents and purposes, kidnapped, forced onto a plane, crashes onto the island again, gets caught by the others, and thrown into their jail cell for 1 night, 2 nights. I think it's been at least 2 nights. And Radzinski mentions that he's been refusing to eat this entire time.
He's hangry. He needs a Snickers.
He's hangry. He's tired. He's had a very long, fucked up week. I think I can forgive him for slightly missing what should have been a shot to the heart.
Yeah, he's recovering from multiple doses of powerful drugs in the span of a few days.
Oh, that's a good point.
I was just trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt.
That's fair. All right. Well, after the child shooting, it has to be all uphill from here, right? We're going to go on to episode 511. Whatever happened, happened. And that one sentence is going to cause a lot of debate.
Yeah, so we pick up with everyone in, I think I was saying everybody, I'm trying to remember if this was talking about us, the viewers, or the people on the show, but I think it works either way. Everyone has complicated feelings about Lil Ben's survival. That, all of us are just sort of like, well, he's the worst, but also he's 12, so... And that's basically the same reaction that, Jack, Juliet, Kate, and all of them are hashing out over the course of the next hour.
Yeah, and just among us in the room, again, you and I know how this was going, but Cara, you and Gina and Katie were all like, I can't believe he shot that kid. Damn it, the kid survived. The shift in tone was...
of course, I guess we all knew he had to, because he does go on in the future to do what he does.
Yeah, exactly.
So we do focus on Kate flashbacks this week, and we do see to just after she got off the island, because neatly established by the fact that Aaron still doesn't have hair, she takes him to see Clementine, Sawyer's ex-girlfriend.
Sure.
But on the way in, she's singing Catch a Falling Star and Put It in Your Pocket, which is cute because way back in season 1, when we saw Claire signing Aaron over for adoption, she said her one ask of the adoptive parents was that they would sing that lullaby to the baby because that was something her dad, Christian, used to sing to her. So I don't think Kate would have any way of knowing that, but it's an interesting connection.
Do you think she would have heard her maybe singing it to Aaron on the island?
I was trying to think if we ever saw Claire do a lullaby for the baby. And as far as I know, the only person we ever saw lull Aaron off was Sawyer, just because Aaron liked his voice.
Yeah, I don't think it's too hard to assume that she would have heard that at some point. But anyway, we both got very excited because I wrote down Cassidy's back, and you wrote down
A big run of Deadwood actors this week, which I know they've all had a bunch of other stuff, but I know we've got at least 2 more Deadwood actors showing up with the remainder of the show, with Titus Welliver coming up later in the season, and there is one other, and I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but yeah.
one other.
It's I love that show, and it's similar to The Wire. I'm just happy to see anybody who was on that show in anything else.
So Lil Ben gets found and gets taken back to Otherton and goes into surgery with Juliet operating on him.
Which, again, as far as anyone knows, she's just a mechanic who was able to do a C-section, but now she's just scrubbing up for anything.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's like...
if you can work on cars, you can work on kids and people. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, really, what's the difference between a carburetor and a uterus?
Not much.
Or a carburetor and a 12-year-old's heart?
Nah, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So we do establish, though, that she is out of her depth here. She's doing everything she can, but she needs Jack, the actual surgeon, in there trying to close up this wound.
It continues a nice run, by the way, of them avoiding the cliche in Hollywood where, if you're an expert on one thing, you're an expert on everything. So similar to how when Faraday, despite being a physicist, has no idea how to dismantle a nuclear bomb. Likewise, Juliet is, has medical training, but just knowing how to deliver a baby successfully does not qualify you to dig a bullet out of a child.
Yeah. So she sends Sawyer back to, not really back there. It's a very small neighborhood. He goes to get Jack because he has put Jack, Kate, and Hurley on lockdown to avoid any complications. And Sawyer tells Jack he needs to go and get with Juliet and help save this child. And Jack flat out refuses. Just says no. And
Guys from everyone in the room.
Yeah, new Jack is cold AF. And I like it.
It's honestly up there with his "I just want you to know exactly how you're gonna die" speech to Ben from back in season 3 that we all loved. It is kind of interesting though, because his part of his rationale is I saved Ben once and he's gone on to do a bunch of terrible things. I'm not saving him again. But his other point has a certain logic to it, which is, we know Ben's alive. If he's alive, then he's not going to die now, so I don't need to do anything, which makes a certain amount of sense. But it does kind of raise the question, if everything is destiny and fate, does that mean that Jack doesn't have to really do anything, that things are going to just work out the way they're supposed to, and his inaction can't thwart that? I don't know. It's again a nice reflection on where Jack is on his journey with the idea of faith and destiny and belief and all that. But yeah, and it's interesting to see how especially Juliet, Sawyer, and Kate are all more in the I don't care what destiny is, I don't care who Ben is. This is a 12-year-old kid, and we're not going to let him die.
Yeah, and it does raise another, time travel shenanigan question of, they've repeatedly mentioned, you can't change things, but what if Jack being in 1977 was there for the purpose of saving Ben? Does his refusal change that? Time travel.
Yeah, this is the drama you get into with the stable time loop stories.
Yes, exactly. So when Kate confronts him about refusing to do surgery on little 12-year-old Ben...
Oh my gosh, she's so whiny about it.
She is, and she tells Jack, "I don't like the new you," and then goes on to tell him off. And when she's done, after a brief pause, Jack looks at her and goes, "Kate, you didn't like the old me."
Touche.
And it's a shockingly, good point, brief and to the point. I love it. I love this Jack.
Having his rock bottom and slow climb back up into heroism be, coincide with him just kind of constantly saying true things that season 1 through 3 Jack would have run away from as fast as he could have. It's a great direction for the character. So Kate just deciding to do what she can, runs over and offers to transfuse some blood into Ben because she is A negative, so she's universal donor.
A? I thought it was. I thought
O negative. Sorry.
Well, she's definitely negative.
Yeah.
I don't know if you refer to this as a callback, but way back in season 1 when Aaron was being born and Boone was dying, Jack was trying to find a universal blood donor so somebody could to help keep Boone alive. And nobody in the area either knew their blood type or was compatible. But the one person who could do it was somewhere else delivering a baby. So just not ever mentioned in season 1, but just kind of I don't know, just something about the compatibility of Jack and Kate's needs for each other, but their circumstances just constantly pushing them in different directions.
Well,
Oh God, what if Aaron has Boone's soul?
Cara, you and I have both donated blood. I wasn't aware you thought that was part of the process.
No. Because Boone like died and then Aaron was born. Like it was, kind of around the It's,
yeah, the whole birth death juxtaposition cliche.
Yeah, that.
So you think Boone's soul?
No, I don't think. I just wondered. Like, what if? Oh my God.
We'll see if Aaron grows up to have any affairs with his step siblings. He seemed like he was getting pretty close with little Clementine, so we'll see.
Look, revival shows are all the rage right now. Like we're getting a Scrubs revival, I think, next year. It's only a matter of time until we get a Lost revival, and I really hope that it's like 20-year-old Aaron acting exactly like Boone.
Oh God. Oh, I hate that so much.
So despite everyone's best efforts to keep Roger Linus out of the infirmary, he makes his way in there anyway, and Kate agrees to talk to him to keep him chill. And he says to her, "I thought I was going to be the greatest dad ever, but it's just too bad for you, Roger, that you're a dad on Lost. You were predestined to be a shitty dad."
Yeah, he's having this whole moment of like, man, I was such a bad dad to this kid. And we just know as soon as Ben's better, he's going to go back to being that just distant asshole that eventually drives Ben to kill him personally while everybody else at the Dharma gets killed indirectly.
Yeah.
So back, you mentioned that, Sawyer sends Hurley, Jack, and Kate to just hang out at the house. And Miles is there with a gun. He helpfully explains, "You're free to leave, but I'll shoot you in the leg." Just Ken Leung just continuing to nail these little aside bits. He and Hurley actually have a lengthy conversation where it's clear we're seeing what is like just a much longer dialogue of Miles trying to break down the situation of where they are and what it all means. And a lot of it's just funny because Hurley keeps latching on to like the wrong points or just visibly getting lost. It's a great character pairing.
Robert read this note while we were watching and turned and looked at me and said, "We're going to argue about this again this week, aren't we?" And I said, "Yeah, probably. Or we'll just save it for the Looper episode." But I put in the notes that Miles's explanation of time travel is fundamentally flawed. And as much as a theoretical concept can be right or wrong, I think Hurley's is correct because he starts looking at his hand and Miles is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I'm seeing if I'm disappearing, like in Back to the Future. Which the show's, having a lot of fun with which version of time travel are we going with here. Is it the bootstrap paradox version? Is it the butterfly effect version? Yeah.
I'm going to have to study up before we watch Looper. So that I can actually be intelligent about this conversation.
I do feel like a lot of what Miles is emphasizing to Hurley is probably what the writers feel the audience needs to know, namely the fact that they're in the past from like their perspective in 2007 doesn't mean they don't still have an uncertain future ahead of them. Like as Miles, like at one point exasperated, like pulls out his gun and is like, "Shoot me, please." And when Hurley's like, "Well, I can't shoot you because if I shoot you, you don't come here on the freighter in 2004. And Miles explains, "Yes, I've already done that in my past, even though it's in the future generally." But so basically they're establishing there are still stakes for these characters. Like young Ben can't die because his future is still ahead of him. But for Miles, Sawyer, Juliet, Hurley, all of them, whatever can happen is still yet to happen. So none of them have any kind of special immunity because they're in what would be relative for them, the past.
Oh.
I love Kara's confused time travel face.
Well, it ends with a great button where Hurley, who's asked a bunch of questions that just make Miles increasingly annoyed and frustrated, and then Hurley finally goes, "Wait, but if Sawyer always shot Ben when he was a kid, how come when when Saeed tortured Ben in the future, Ben didn't remember that this was the guy who shot him?" and you see Miles start to react like, "Oh my God, you!" And then he just stops and like sits down. And is like, "Huh, I hadn't thought of that."
And see, that's
Because that actually is.
the thing.
Yeah, a flaw so big the writers had to awkwardly throw in an explanation. Jumping ahead to the end of the episode, the solution to saving 12-year-old Ben is for Kate and Sawyer to take him into other territory and give him to Richard. And Richard outright tells them he won't remember any of this and he'll be different afterwards. And it's like, oh, well, I guess that's why he doesn't remember Saeed shooting him. But also, that's kind of clumsy.
Yeah, you run into some issues. Like, in the last batch of episodes, we saw Christian in 2007 take a picture off a wall and show it to Lapidus and Son and reveal that Hurley, Jack, and Kate are in the picture of, like, the Dharma class of 77. And so, in theory, that picture was always there through season 3 and 4. If anybody in, Dharmaville had ever looked closely at that, they would have been like, hey, wait, aren't these those guys in that beach on the other side of the island that we keep tormenting?
Uh-huh.
That in theory, it was just always there, and just nobody noticed, nobody looked at that.
Unless we're in a butterfly effect scenario, in which case it wasn't, and their alteration of the past changed the future. Because there was probably a version of that photo that was Hurley, Jack, Jin, and Kate-less.
I like this whole show to be Kateless.
Oh, we're going to talk about that, don't you worry.
That would require some time travel of our own.
Damn.
Yeah, speaking of, so Kate does eventually decide, I forget how she comes to this conclusion. No, Juliet tells her, I think, that the others might have a way to help Ben. So Kate gets him into a van and drives him off. And when asked, how she's going to approach the others, because she doesn't want Juliet to come along, Kate just says, I'll manage. And I just noted, few TV characters have ever matched the unearned confidence of Kate Austen. Because every time she says that, she tends to screw up. Like, she gets captured trying to follow Jack out to the meeting with the others. She tries to rob a bank and a bunch of people get shot. Like, it's just, her managing is always a catastrophe.
Yeah, to the point where in her, technically a flashback, even though it takes place 30 years in the future, she is at immediately after the confrontation with Ben and Jack on the at the dock, the 2 nights before they go, quote unquote, to Guam. After she leaves there, poor little Aaron wants some chocolate milk, so they stop at a grocery store, and Kate promptly loses him. She turns around, as she puts it, for 2 seconds, and when she looks back, Aaron is gone. He has wandered off. Kate panics and goes looking for him. And she sees a curly-headed blonde woman holding Aaron's hand and goes running after them. And I went, hey, it's Timu Claire.
It really is a great piece of casting, because when the actress turns around for a second, you're like, oh my gosh, wait, no, it's clearly not Emily DeRavin, but it's a great, like, for a second you wonder.
Clearly not Claire.
Yeah, so back on the island, Juliet eventually does come to confront Jack, and she does it right as he's getting out of the shower, which, impressively, there's actually no sexual tension in this whatsoever. Like, given that, Jack and Juliet were a couple as recently as season 4, she's coming in pissed because he refused to save a kid. She tells him that, and she leaves. And, yeah, it's just Jack is both giving and receiving hard truths this episode.
Yeah, and also, I assume that this means Juliet doesn't get horny when she's angry.
No, she gets angry when she's angry, like a normal person.
Exactly.
Wonder how she gets when she's sad.
Now, see, you're asking the real questions now. So, like I said, the explanation for how they save 12-year-old Ben is they give him to the others, and we see Richard taking him into the temple. This is the second time we're seeing it. We saw it the first time in Jin's flashback in the 80s when he was with Rousseau and the French exploration team. And surely this is going to be super important to the rest of the show, Robert. I mean, it's a place where you can, like, save the lives of children and other people. So
I just remember the other Deadwood star who guest appears.
Wait, doesn't the smoke monster live under the temple?
yes, or at least nearby the temple.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
The security system I think they described.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, so I mentioned at the time, I don't love this idea because Richard also says not only will Ben not remember this, but he'll be fundamentally changed. He'll always be one of us. And the implication being that, like, oh, something dark got inside Ben while they were doing this, whatever, to heal him.
Necromancy.
Don't worry, we got that in store for us too. I like the idea of their impact on the past, unwittingly playing into the things that they hope to prevent in the future. But the idea that like Ben got his start of darkness because of the actions of the Ajira 316 survivors never really sat well with me, because I thought his flashback gave like a perfectly satisfactory explanation. Like, he's a miserable kid. His dad just treated him like crap. And he just was so starved for affection that like manipulation and control are the only way he really knows how to relate to people. So yeah, I'm kind of iffy on this whole like, oh, and also he got like evil juice in him at some point while they were cleaning out his bullet wound.
But it does give us the end of the episode here.
Yes, because after he disappears in the temple, we immediately cut to adult Ben waking up from the bed to find John Locke sitting over him. And Locke has presumably been sitting there for hours waiting for the look on Ben's face when he opens his eyes and sees John Locke staring down at him. And boy, he is not disappointed, because there is just the way Ben's eyes widen and Locke delivers his, "Hello, Ben. Welcome back to the land of the living." Just, oh, it's so perfect. And Terry O'Quinn gives that beautiful John Locke smile that starts with his eyes narrowing, so it looks menacing for just a minute before he starts to smile. And what a great end to the episode.
It really is. But I put here in the notes, I know, knowing how this season ends, I know that this is all going to pay off, that all of these Chekhov's guns, all of this world building, it's all going to come to a head in the season finale, and it's going to be a satisfying series finale. But God, the amount of place setting episodes that we are getting is getting frustrating. And I didn't remember that about this season, feeling frustrated by it. But after such a big build, getting up through the end of season 4, and then like the beginning of this season, it's like, hey, how are we going to get back to the island? How are the other island survivors faring? Now it's like, we're going to grind that to a halt so that we can give you a slow build to the end of the season. I don't know. Is that just me?
I mean, having never seen this season before, apparently.
That's a good point.
It's I don't know. I guess for me, a lot of it is that just is what it is. I don't know.
I think for me, it's maybe an unavoidable effect of how they've switched over from season 1 through 3 having sort of their overarching story, but also, here are side plots and little like character beats of just, here's Hurley having a golf tournament, or, here's, Walt playing backgammon with someone. And then starting with season 4, we got so much more momentum. Like, okay, there's a big plot. It affects everybody. Everybody's aware of it, and they're all working towards it. It is hard not to feel like, okay, our fingers are tapping and we're waiting for that thing that we know is coming in a way that feels much more focused than, season 1 or season 2, where, them just like screwing around in the hatch for a whole season still mostly didn't feel like they were just killing time, even though objectively we moved much more slowly than we have in these 2 seasons. I think it's just kind of a different like rise and fall of narrative, like the build to the Ajira 316 flight and the reveal of what happened to Locke. And now we've got them on the island, and we've got the build to what is everybody going to do now. But there's much more of a question mark there than there was in the first half of the season. So I see how you feel that. It works for me, because I do like that they fit in kind of the good stuff of Lost. Like
right.
The first episode, we do see ultimately just Saeed fully come into being a tragic figure. This guy turning his back on the idea that he can redeem himself and be something other than this violent man that he's been for most of his life, and just decide, no, I'm only ever going to be violent, and I'm going to do it, one more time just to finally fix things. And then we find out that didn't even succeed.
Yeah.
And then in this last episode, I think we do get a pretty neat question about like, what does it mean to act if you believe that there is destiny or inevitability? What what responsibility does that put on you to actually take charge if your belief system necessitates that there's something else in charge over you all the time? Like if Ben Linus lives to be an adult man is just an immutable fact, then what obligation does Jack as a doctor have to treat young Ben Linus's bullet wound? So like I think there's enough for me to kind of chew on that it's not bothering me. I do see where you're coming from, but I think that's just kind of a shift in where the show is versus where it was in the early seasons.
Yeah, and thinking about it now, I think season 4 set an unfair precedent because it was shorter, so everything moved a lot faster, and we had something like right off the bat that we were anticipating. How does the Oceanic Six get off the island? Who else, if anybody, survives? Like that was the big question from the get-go. There is no, like after they get back to the island, there is no big question for this season. I don't know. But anyway, the very last one that I took about is it's just so hard to care about anything Kate related at this point. We are all checked out on Kate. There were groans once again when Sawyer gets out of his van and sees Juliet and Kate talking, and he spends just a second longer lingering his eyes on Kate than he does Juliet, and we were like, oh, Christ.
It's sad that they have the opportunity to move her to a different set of motivation than the Jack Sawyer love triangle, and they do that by making her a mom. Oh well, let's see, the woman, we don't want to define her by the men she's interested in. I know she's got to have a baby that she cares about. It's just, for a show that has so much imagination and ambition, there's just such a limited concept of Kate. And yeah, they never really managed to overcome that.
I need you to write a book about this character and call it, what did you, the limited, how did you just say?
The Limited Conception of Kate.
Yeah, The Limited Conception of Kate. A thesis by Robert Bradford.
Well, I'm sure there are plenty of articles on Vulture and Jezebel that have dug into that.
Absolutely. Well, we promised it last episode, or we teased it, but I thought since, like we said, we only watched 2 episodes, this one's going to be a little bit shorter than usual. We're going to finish this off having a fun topic of if this were a crossover with the Muppets, what one human would you keep and the rest of the cast are Muppets? We broke it down by season, including season 5 up until the point that we are all at now. So, Robert, let's start with you. What human do you keep and the rest are Muppets?
Thinking of season 1, I basically just went through most of my memorable character interactions that I remember most, and was like, what would be funniest if only one of these people was still a human? And I kept thinking of Sawyer, whether it's him getting tortured, whether it's him just smirking at people or being antagonistic, just to have everybody else be, and just this one asocial jackass be a human. That's it. That sits right with me.
Cara, what about you?
So for me, it's Hurley, because to me, there's nothing better than a big guy with all the hair and just this presence, but he's just very sweet. But then Muppets. I think that would just be hysterical.
That was Gina's vote as well.
Nice.
For me, for this concept to work, the human character, nothing changes. It's like you're just taking scenes from the show, but you're replacing everybody else with a Muppet. So for me, for season 1, you have to keep Jack, because sweaty, stressed out Jack, sweaty, panting Jack running around the jungle with Miss Piggy would be the height of hilarity for me. Everything with him is super dramatic. Every line is delivered with utter sincerity. And then behind him, Kermit's arms are up in the air. All right. So season 2, Robert.
So I went on the assumption that we're looking at characters that are first introduced or at least first majorly seen in that season. So I went with Mr. Echo, because just the idea of this big, I think the actor's 6'3" or 6'4", literally being twice the height of all of his Muppet co-stars. That's just, again, physical comedy gold to me right there.
Yeah.
Cara, you and I put the same thing. What was your explanation?
So, and honestly, I waffled between Echo and my choice, Desmond, our choice. But I actually just went with Desmond, because I thought just the idea of him in the hatch. Well, I mean, I guess not him in the hatch, but the Muppets in the hatch. That was just what I wanted to see. I need Muppets in a hatch. Plus, it's Desmond.
I agree with you, but also because I think this would fit Desmond's mental state when we meet him. He has been isolated for it's been a while. He's been isolated for a while since Kelvin went off, or since Desmond killed him, if I'm remembering that correctly. It's been less than a year since we watched it. So for him to like all of a sudden find a bunch of Muppets down in the Swan with him would be fantastic. All right. Season 3, Robert.
Charlie, because wet felt smells awful.
I love that reasoning.
Cara, you had the same choice.
Yeah, it's got to be Charlie. Number 1, I am not watching a Muppet drown. And number 2, the hands are so tiny, like riding Not Penny's boat is going to be hard.
Robert's doing the Muppet arms right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeping in line with like the comically serious and how funny it would be watching Muppets interact with and around them, I would keep Juliet, the stern, no-nonsense doctor surrounded by, like, Gonzo. Just picture that, if you will. I love it. Robert?
So season 4, and I'm going to note that I took Faraday off the list immediately because I see so much Muppet DNA in Jeremy Davies' performance already that I don't really think we'd be able to tell the difference. I want to keep Keamy because human versus Muppet throwdowns are always fun. Just I imagine him like rolling around the jungle with like Muppet Saeed, like having him in a headlock. And then also I just, I think seeing a Muppet shoot a 16-year-old girl in the head would be the kind of thing that you described to a therapist for a while.
But in
it'd
this,
be it would be Muppet on Muppet violence.
Felt everywhere. Or no,
Yeah.
the stuffing just goes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so you'd rather watch a human shoot the Muppet of a 16-year-old girl in the head?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
warped.
Jesus. I was not expecting that response, Cara. Well,
I've made peace with my neuroses, guys. I don't know about y'all.
So, for me, and maybe I should have picked a different person just because I already picked this guy. But I would do Desmond again because I think seeing him time trip with Muppets, that would have just been brilliant for me.
Every time he flashes back in the constant, everybody, like more and more people are Muppets now.
Oh, I think that'd be so great.
for me, I'm keeping the legendary Frank Lapidus and everyone else is Muppets because I want just so bad to see. Once again, I'm forgetting the actor's name. But
Jeff Fahey.
Jeff Fahey surrounded by Muppets. Again, like I said, same exact delivery, performance, everything about it. Just he's working with Muppets now.
But see, I could totally see him as a Muppet because I thought about Faraday as well. And I had the same thing. I was like, no, he is a Muppet in human skin.
Same reason I never picked Ben. I'm just like, that guy's got too much Rizzo in him already.
Nice.
So I had originally not included season 5 because we're not done with it yet, but Kiara brought it up, and so I thought we'd do up to now, and then if we remember, if we haven't forgotten about this, and well, for us, it's going to be like a month and a half. Well, after we finish the season, maybe we do like as a whole, but up to now in season 5, Robert, who would you pick?
I picked Eloise Hawking mainly just on the strength of that one scene in the lamppost where she explains how to get back to the island. I'm just imagining her like carrying things and just like Muppet shouldering her way across the floor while, yeah. Wait, no, she's the only human. Dang
Right.
it. I was doing this while we were talking in my brain. I reversed it in my head and had her be a Muppet while everyone else was human.
Hey, you know
That'd be
what?
a different show.
Well, with all the shenanigans that happen around this season, maybe the energy from the island flipped everybody. Now there's only one Muppet, and everyone else is human.
Oh.
All right, yeah, let's do that, Kara.
Nice.
Let's replace one cast member with a Muppet because of island shenanigans.
Okay. So come back to me on that. I need to think a minute.
Go ahead and say what your first one was.
Well, so if this was one human, all Muppets, it was going to be Locke because I'm sorry, I just don't need to see a Muppet get murdered. I don't want to see the little shadow of a hanging Muppet like that. I feel like that might stick with me in a way I don't want it to.
Again,
So,
in this
yeah.
in this scenario that we have crafted, though, you're going to see Muppet Saeed pick up a Muppet gun and shoot Muppet Ben,
Yes,
and you're going to see a little stuffing fly out of his chest.
and there's something less disturbing about that than there is about a hung Muppet. Wait, let me rephrase that.
A hanged Muppet.
Hanged. Yes, sorry.
Just stare. That ain't the puppeteer's arm you're seeing down there.
Wow. My answer is going to be the same either way, whether he's a human and everyone else is a Muppet, or whether he's a Muppet and everyone else is human. It's Richard. Because if, like, the ageless person, every time he shows up to interact with these idiots, they're all Muppets, that would be great. Or if this massively intimidating figure, like, imagine, let's go back to that scene where Sawyer has to go out and talk to him because Richard walks with that boss walk that Robert was talking about into the camp and everyone is immediately terrified. Imagine seeing that silhouette, except it's 2 feet tall and all of its limbs.
Hey, wait! there were big Muppets. What was the big, tall, brown, furry one?
Snuffleupagus?
No, that's Sesame Street.
Oh,
no, the
I know you're talking about.
with the
Sweetums.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, see, I was going full, like,
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be funnier though.
And now
Absolutely.
I've just realized what Nestor Carbonell's acting choice reminds me of is that Richard does feel like the grown-up who shows up in Sesame Street and is like, all right, now let's all talk about what we've learned, because that's just the attitude he has towards all of these much, much, like, more finite people that are around him. Except he's just more menacing about it, but he really is like the grown-up on Sesame Street to all these idiots.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right, we're gonna have to remember to revisit this once we finish the season, and also like in our recap of season 6. I'm just gonna add this to the notes as a fixture. Come back to later.
Yeah, I like it.
As far as relevant dates go, there are none right now, because at this point, in all 3 seasons, they were all on like a winter hiatus, and we're coming back in January or February. Womp. So, speaking of going on hiatus, we are too, because next week is Christmas and the following week is New Year's. So it's going to be 3 or 4, maybe even 5 weeks. I don't know.
Ew.
I know. And then
It
things
can't
are
be that long.
And then things are going to get a little hairy because I'm directing a show and Cara is stage managing it. So we might see another delay. We're going to figure that out, and I'll let everyone know. But stay tuned to our social media. Stay tuned on Instagram at Long Walk Podcast for more information about when we're coming back from our hiatus to finish season 5 and start season 6, the beginning of the end. But anyway, Robert, something that you're digging on right now or your social media.
So I'm actually going to say 2 things. One is just in view of the really sad news that came out of California over the weekend about the very horrible death of Rob Reiner and his wife. I've just been going back and watching like some of the wonderful movies that guy directed. I mean, the guy gave us Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, This Is Spinal Tap. Just so everybody should, like, if you do not have at least one Rob Reiner movie that you just watch and just feel simple happiness at, then you just must not like movies at all, because, man, this guy gave us some treasures. Then the other one is I'm planning to see the new Avatar movie, Fire and Ash, in the biggest screen I can find this coming weekend. And if a time traveler had told me how much I'd be looking forward to that 5 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts. But I don't know. Way of Water just got me into these crazy blue people in their world. Abadi abadai.
Okay. I'm going to pretend like I know what that means.
You never heard that song?
Oh,
blue, abadi, abadi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I thought that was like an Avatar thing that you just
Oh.
said. Like something the Na'vi, like, I don't know.
If I were James Cameron, I would have worked that in, but that's probably why I haven't made like a $1 movie.
Cara, what are you, either your social media or something that you're digging on right now?
So I'm digging on a lot of random stuff. Mostly Legos and well, I just finished Welcome to Derry. And yeah, I'm just having a week of I ain't doing shit.
Has that finished its first season?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be mine too, because Katie and I just finished Welcome to Derry last night. And man, if you're thinking to yourself, it's been a while since something Stephen King related just dug its claws into my heart and squeezed it. I miss that feeling of Stephen King just wrenching my emotions. Boy, have I got good news for you. Because, damn it, Stephen King didn't even write this.
No.
It's just from the world of Stephen King. This is all like Andy Muschietti and co. But it's a great... Welcome to Derry, the first season, is great. I'm very interested to see how they're going to keep this going. And now that we know like what the conceit of the season was and the next two... It's going to be good stuff. So that's where I'm at. And also, the year is winding down. I'm trying to catch up on all the movies that I feel like I should have seen by now. So that's an ongoing work in progress. But also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can do that at DB Hensley. And I already said it once, but I'll say it again. Follow the podcast at Long Walk Podcasts. If you want to keep up with Long Walk Productions, you can visit us online at longwalk.us. To see more of our original work or hear past episodes that are no longer streaming, you can follow the YouTube links in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening, and if you enjoy this show, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you're listening on.
We have to go back, Kate. Yeah!